Hello and welcome back to the channel. So guys, it's official. The Office for National Statistics has made this publication on the 21st of May 2026. And on this video, I'll be using the information on the BBC News website to break down this to our understanding. Please watch this video to the end, especially if you are a migrant living in the United Kingdom.
Successive prime ministers have tried to get it down.
I'm very clear that the levels of migration are too high.
Introducing tough visa restrictions.
This plan means migration will fall.
Those policies now appear to be working. Today, net migration fell to 171,000, down 82% since its peak 3 years ago and at its lowest level outside the pandemic since 2012. A big reason for that is restrictions on health and care worker visas.
I'm really worried. People are living longer, more people are requiring care. We're not getting, as I say, we're not getting local applicants. Without our colleagues from abroad, I do worry that we're not going to be able to provide vital services for our elderly people.
The changes in rules making us more nervous, anxious, so don't know what is happening, so don't know how it's going to affect us in the future.
Many of these visa restrictions were introduced by the previous Conservative government and continued and tightened under Labour.
It is frankly absurd for Keir Starmer and Shabana Mahmood to claim credit for policies the last government implemented.
Welcome back. So as you can see on the screen, it says double data drop shows net migration and asylum hotel use down, but small boats crossing up. I know some of us will be like, how does this even affect us? Yes, I will tell you how this affects you or how you could be affected. However, do not forget that this is not a legal advice. I cannot give you any legal advice because I am not a qualified immigration lawyer. Data revealed that net migration in the year to December 2025 was 171,000. Did you hear that? 171,000. Its lowest level since 2012, including the COVID pandemic. Before now, the net migration of this country has been lingering around 900,000. Okay, but now, as we speak, as at the last day of December 2025, it's been brought down significantly to 171,000. And what must have contributed to this, I know, is not far-fetched, like we already know. Those of us that have been listening to news, you understand that there have been significant immigration changes, brought out this past few years. Yes, and according to the information, some people are criticizing that yes, this is what they wanted, but it was not really brought out by this present government. However, let's even think about this. If you remember what happened in 2024, to be precise, they brought out the rule that anyone that wants to come to the United Kingdom must come in here alone to study, except if they are doing bigger courses like research and all of that. So this had contributed significantly to that. And also, came 2025, May to be precise, the government announced their plans via immigration white paper, and some of those announcements or those plans came into effect that same year. That many of us have been thinking that after these changes, probably some people were considering coming to the United Kingdom to study or to work. But unfortunately, the government at some point dictated that they were abused. Yeah, but again, talking about the abuse, it was said that those abuses were coming from companies here in the United Kingdom who try to capitalize or take advantage of those innocent foreigners, those innocent migrants, people that do not stay here. Some of these people do not live in the United Kingdom or had never lived in the United Kingdom, so therefore they do not even know some of these immigration rules. They don't know what the law says and all of that. Some of these companies were collecting money, exploiting them, with the promise of giving them a job and possibly visa sponsorship. So, but after many cases had been reported to the Home Office, it was alleged that these people came to the country, but unfortunately they were not given the jobs that they were promised, and they had spent all their life savings. So the government looked into that particular visa route and discovered that because of this abuse that have been happening, it's best they totally stop overseas recruitment on that sector. So came July 2025, the government totally stopped anything or everything about overseas recruitment on health and care visa. Do not forget that other routes are still available. Yeah, if you go on the internet, you will see some legitimate jobs there in the NHS. They will give you visa sponsorship if you meet every other criteria that is set on that rule, and you go or you take it legitimately. But what we are trying to talk about here is the lapses that had caused the government to to freeze or to bring out stricter immigration rules. And according to this report, it's clear that some of these restrictions actually worked because the net migration had come down. However, before I proceed, I'm going to let you guys watch this video. I was just browsing the internet and I came across this video. Analysis was made regarding foreign nationals, especially Indians, leaving the United Kingdom, and these people, I made a video, if you remember, those of you that have been following me, I made a video sometime last year where I told you guys what I have perceived. And then, though I didn't really know what the outcome would be, but it was quite obvious to me then that people were leaving, and they are still leaving. It's not like the low-skilled people that they are talking about, because they keep talking about low-skilled migrants and all of that. We are talking about professionals. We are talking about teachers. We are talking about, consultants. We are talking about nurses. We are talking about, just name it. Okay? So these people came, especially some of them relied on the promise of getting ILR after 5 years. So when the government, though they have not finalized that, but when they started talking about extending it and all of that, so some of these people had the doubts if the government would keep to their words by, leaving it the way it was. So some of these people got offer from other countries, and some even tried to go back to their own countries, to practice in their country. So we lost so many professionals. But I'm going to let you guys watch this video. Yeah, this is just the data analysis based on Indian citizens alone leaving the United Kingdom. I will see you shortly after this.
Indian students and workers are leaving the United Kingdom in large numbers as Britain tightens immigration rules amid rising political pressure over migration. Fresh data indicates that net migration has nearly halved, with Indians leading the list of people leaving Britain. All of this is making Indian families reconsider plans for overseas education and migration. And amid all this, another European country is quickly becoming an appealing destination for higher education. What is this country? Our next report tells you.
For years, the United Kingdom was one of the top destinations for Indian students and professionals. A degree from Britain and a job in London. That was the dream for many Indian families. But that is now changing. Britain's net migration has now nearly halved, as tougher immigration rules begin to bite, and Indians are among the biggest groups leaving the country. According to data released by the UK's Office for National Statistics, around 51,000 Indian students left Britain in 2025, the highest among all nationalities. Another 21,000 Indians who had moved for work also exited the country, along with nearly 3,000 others. Chinese nationals followed closely, with about 46,000 students and workers leaving the UK. The surge in departures pushed Britain's net migration down sharply to 171,000 in 2025. These numbers are a direct reflection of what's happening in British politics. Government after government in the UK have steadily tightened immigration rules. The politics of fear around migration has intensified. Migrants often blamed for pressure on jobs, housing, and public services. As a result of this, non-EU work migration fell 47% last year. Net migration continues to fall and is at levels last seen in early 2021, when the new immigration system was introduced and COVID-19 pandemic travel restrictions were still in place. Now, interestingly, even though more Indians are leaving the UK, they still remain one of the biggest groups inside Britain's visa system. But Britain is now clearly moving towards a much stricter immigration model. The Labour government says it wants a more skills-based migration system. But that's just polite talk for tighter borders, fewer migrants, and a tougher immigration regime. Because what it does is make it harder for lower-income migrants to settle permanently. Migration is the biggest political fault line in Britain. In fact, the issue became so politically sensitive that it briefly overtook economy as the top concern among British voters. Sky News YouGov's poll, released in September 2025, found that 58% picked immigration as one of the top issues facing the country. But economists are also warning of risks, because while lower migration may ease political pressure, it could also worsen labour shortages and slow economic growth in sectors heavily dependent on migrant workers. And here's another important detail. The data also showed that it is not just migrants leaving Britain, large numbers of Britons and Europeans are leaving too.
All right, so you could see that people were actually leaving, and the reason why they decide to leave is not far-fetched. I will leave the source of this information on the description box of this video in case you want to read it. Please do well to like, share this video if you earn any value from it, and I will see you on my next one. Thank you.
I know you got all dressed up.